Hi, I'm Annie Early here with the RRS, and today we're doing a vodcast with Charlie. I'll have you introduce yourself and say where you are from, what school or what business.
Okay. I'm Charlie Maitz. I'm a veterinary radiation oncologist at the University of Missouri in Columbia, Missouri.
So that's kind of an interesting combination, having the veterinary science with also the radiation. Can you explain a little bit, is that kind of a newer field?
It's newer, I suppose. We actually have some pioneers in the group that have been past presidents of Radiation Research Society. So Mark Dewhurst is a veterinarian and a veterinary radiation oncologist. He leaned more towards the research side, but has been a member of Radiation Research Society for a long time. But I think we're starting to get some of the new blood in radiation oncology, I guess, so to speak, to be active members. So I think we have 7 veterinarians at this meeting, a couple of a veterinary resident or 2, a postdoc, a veterinary student, and then 4 faculty here. Colorado State has always had a nice showing, but Mike Nolan's at North Carolina State and I'm at Missouri, so we're growing.
Very interesting. So what kind of led you into veterinarian radiation? Were you more attracted to the radiation side first, or were you a veterinarian first and then kind of dabbled in it? Or?
Yeah, I kind of was split. So I'm kind of an anomaly when it comes to veterinarians, because most people decide they want to be a veterinarian when they're 3 years old and they know it and that's their course. I was a little different. I struggled for a while, and I always enjoyed ecology and animal science and that sort of thing. And I knew I wanted to do veterinary medicine. But at the same time, I always had this nagging feeling that I kind of wanted to be an engineer, and I was wondering, was I doing the right thing? And then I found the nice niche of veterinary radiation oncology, where I kind of get to dabble between the both of them.
Mm-hmm. Get the best of both worlds there.
That's right.
So the radiation research meeting, do you get to kind of reach out to people in the same field, since it is kind of a smaller niche and everything? Do you find yourself finding more people along the same lines that you can collaborate with?
Yeah, it's great. I think veterinarians have at our heart are scientists. I think that's kind of, growing up, I always wanted to be a scientist, and I didn't exactly know what it meant or how to go about that path. But I think we have a lot of passion in the science itself, and this is always a great meeting for us, because those walls are down and we don't have those same barriers, and we can talk just about the science of the radiation, which we don't get to do at a lot of our own meetings, at a lot of our veterinary meetings. And kind of the big push that I think a lot of us do, because I know Colorado, North Carolina, and Missouri, our veterinary colleges are all pretty active in terms of translational research, and that's one thing that we've always been pushing. I know Mark Dewhurst always pushed it as well, is using the companion animal as a model for spontaneous disease. So we always hear about mouse models of cancer, and then jumping from when they talk about translational medicine and drug discovery and going from the benchtop to the bedside, they always say we do mice, and then we go to phase 1 and phase 2 trials in people. And the big argument that we always have is the dog, specifically the dog, but cats too, are actually great models of human disease. And so they develop the same types of cancers, often with similar mutation patterns, and certainly similar disease progression patterns as what we see in people. So whether we're talking about osteosarcoma, which has often been seen as a similar model, and we get a lot of support for that model. That's kind of the one that's used the most. But there are others when we talk about head and neck tumors. Certainly the cat oral squamous cell carcinoma is it's a good model of an aggressive HPV negative head and neck cancer that people get. And canine nasocyanal tumors, we see a lot of those, which are we think are a good model, but I don't think that research has quite been teased out yet.
Oh, gotcha.
But we always kind of push the dogs as a model of the disease, just because I think it can fit in a couple places. It can certainly fit preclinical, and it can fit post phase 1, pre-phase 2, when you're really doing that planning for how you're going to design your study. We've actually had a few studies, veterinary clinical trials, that have shaped the way that the human clinical trials would work, and actually ended up saving, millions of dollars of what would have been spent needlessly, because we identified, an imaging agent that just didn't image what they thought it would.
Oh, very neat. So do you find yourself collaborating a lot with other researchers that would normally be looking at mouse model and then human models and everything, and you find a lot of overlap where you can collaborate?
Yeah, exactly. So our clinical trials are kind of a mix mash of how they're funded. So some of them, we actually do have a clinical comparative oncology trials consortium, or a COTC, which is an NCI-led group. It's mostly on the medical oncology side. We're trying to squeeze in some radiation studies in there as well. But so some of our fundings are from that and NIH type funding. We certainly get a fair bit from industry, where it's a drug company that's wanting to, whether they're looking to make a drug for dog cancer, or many times, often it's they're trying to make a drug for human cancer, but they see the dog model as a very useful model.
Very interesting. So I guess just going back to the meeting for random question here, is this your first meeting you've been to, or have you been to other ones?
This is now my third, so
okay.
Third consecutive even. So I've been a member for 3 years now, and
Okay.
been to the meeting every year.
So since you've been to the meeting for at least 3 times, from when you started to about now, how do you feel about the meeting? Is it really good to be able to collaborate with people? Has it been really useful to be able to come to the meetings and meet people from different fields but all radiation?
Yeah, it absolutely has. It's really very interesting for me to meet with the radiation biologists. We don't have, at Missouri, we don't have a radiation biology group. It's kind of me. I'm what we have. And we don't have the clinician side or the physics side really either. So being able to meet these people that are from all the different walks of life, be it the physics, the chemistry, the medicine, and the biology. It's very nice to be able to meet, and I think this venue, not this particular venue, but the society meeting venue gives us an opportunity to do that. And it's encouraged. I think it continues to be more strongly encouraged. It's one of the missions of the society, and I think it's a really good focus.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you would like to add? Anything you'd like to say to people maybe considering joining the society, people that are already in it and maybe going, oh, it's just so hard getting the research out, just kind of encouraging, or anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I think it is a great opportunity. Every time I come to the meeting, I'm re-energized with all these different ideas that I have to go back to the bench top and to the clinic and try to get them going and meet the people to do that. I think it gets hard in this day and age where professionally you have to be a member of X, Y, and Z and 3 different things, 4 different things, and it can be costly, it can be all sort of time consuming, all of the above, but the passion of the researchers here it really makes me happy to be here, and makes me know that if I had to drop one, this would be the last one I would drop. I'd be a radiation research member for the long haul.
It's good to hear. Well, thank you so much, Charlie, for meeting with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.